I'm
You
trying to
remember?
think. There was Earnhardt Seminar Training, which was S, and there was LifeSpring, and then S became the center. I'm trying to remember.
And then NLP came after that, right? NLP,
right.
which you can still see YouTube's out. A lot of people use that like they do Reiki training, NLP, and what Suzanne and I do in metaphysics. Now, Stan and Tara are going to talk some metaphysics too, not just Hollywood, right? But
Right.
I love dropping names in Hollywood to see who remembers who, because the kids, I mean, my grandchildren don't know, and here, my husband, God bless him, passed, but we were at my mother's, and we were driving trucks back then. We were both prior military, and we went and played a game, and it asked something, and it was like question and answer, one of those box games. And my husband asked my sister's daughter, she's passed now, she was beautiful, she was Miss Teen Lubbock, but she died of cancer like my daughter did, but she didn't know who Elvis Presley was. So the point is, folks, when we go through realities, a lot of people that come up, you don't think about it, but it's not in their repertoire. There's no reason. They don't come up on the movie, or they don't watch old movies. They don't know. Now, this was in the 90s, so or early 2000s maybe, but, 25, 30 years ago. But now my grandkids have no clue who I'm talking about,
Right.
That's like Doc Severinsen.
Go ahead,
Rich. That's like when people say, "Oh, Paul McCartney. Oh yeah, he was in Wings."
I know.
What? No, he's the Beatles. Oh, the Beatles. Who are they?
Who are they? Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
Yeah,
it's different time.
But everybody,
can we keep up a baby boomer? I like the baby boomer generation, but we can do some psychic stuff if you want to on Thursdays. But that's up to you. I don't know if you want to pull together a Thursday, but Tuesday will be another Hollywood kind of thing, but we'll put it under entertainment. I may have to move y'all's off of self-help tonight because we're more entertainment, but I don't know if I can go back in and fix it, but we were supposed to be self-help, the tag, but that was to help people.
Let's talk about self-help for a minute. So, Rich, tell everybody how you use psychics to make your dream come true. It's my favorite story of yours because I'm in it.
How psychics make my dream come true?
Right.
Her muse?
Yeah. Or my muse. Yeah, you're my muse. But
thank you.
Yeah, just yeah, that's true.
I like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there was all the psychics at the tango during those days. I think I told this story before, but yeah.
Not on the show.
Okay, so there's all these psychics at the tango, so I was just living day by day and barely getting to the restaurant with like no gas in the car and not having any money in my pocket. So I just talked to psychics there, and I was sort of like your ambassador to the psychics because they're all your friends or you're to hire them all. So I talked to them. It would just give you a sense of peace that, okay, I can make it through the day, or I can do, everything's in alignment with what I'm doing. And nobody said, hey, well, why don't you go get a job at the post office?
Which is what your parents said to you over and over again.
Yeah, that was my parents' dream for me. Why don't you get a job at the post office? You can have security. You can live,
Oh,
work
yeah.
30 years.
Yeah, that was big too. Yeah, government jobs. Truck driving it down here in the South. I don't know where it's going to go. But I live on the coast, Gulf Coast, where we're big on space. So I promote space because my kids, my kids were raised on NASA money, right? So engineers and NASA money and space and, bogey 12 o'clock high or 2 o'clock. My husband was in the control room in NASA, when they had that. And then they called me up, and I drove my little Jag XKE convertible all the way up to NASA from Pasadena to go up and hear it on myself in my ears. So I knew about UFOs and real other aliens and stuff before anybody else really admitted to it. That's part of I was 16 or 17. I was a real young bride. I had just had Angela, and I don't think Lauren, because 69, Lauren hadn't been born yet. She was born April 3rd. But we're big on that. So you guys are big on Hollywood, California, but self-help. How do we help people self-help? You know how we used to go into the bookstores and read books? I don't know if people still go to bookstores. So Amazon's pretty much shut most of them down, haven't they? Now it's all inside internet, like we're talking now, people listening to us around the world.
Right. Now if you want a book, now you have to take and go on to Amazon, and then they let you read the first so many pages of a book, or you can take and go to a particular chapter. But I still think that the old method, and I think it was Shirley MacLaine that did this one, and she said, well, oh yeah, this was one of the messages. So a good way to get information is to go into a bookstore, and if a book popped and fell right in front of you, you were supposed to get that book and take it home because that book had a message for you. And I don't think people would believe that today because they just say, well, who didn't put the books away correctly? But we really believe that that was the way the message came. Yes, Rich?
Do you know who got us into all that stuff when we were little, when I'm thinking about it now?
Who?
It was Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh,
We're little kids watching those shows. I'm not kidding. We're thinking, well, look at that. That's like magical, right?
Right.
What else? Did we grow up looking at that stuff going, wow, that's like magical stuff, you know?
Well, I don't know. I hope we evolved past that.
Well, yeah, we evolved, but it's just like someone saying, well, how'd you get into painting? Well, I was watching Bob Ross on the TV, you know?
Uh-oh. What? You're telling the truth here? You never told me that.
No, people say that. They go, I really like watching paintings being made by Bob Ross. My brother just told me that the other day. He goes, it's relaxing, you know? It's not like politics or anything like that. You're just watching the guy, you know. But anyway, yeah, we're talking about millennials. TJ, where were you when they landed on the moon? Where were you at?
Houston.
Because everybody remembers that day.
Well, she had to be in Houston.
Was she right there on site? What a life she's had.
Well, I think her husband was part of that project.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's had quite a life.
It is interesting. So self-help. What is Silva Mind Control still? I was looking at that not too long ago on Facebook, and Silva Mind Control is still listed as that. And didn't they say in the end that there was only 5? What was your sound that you were told? What was your word?
The word that they're every day in every way I'm getting better and better.
Yeah, I know, but they gave you a word to meditate on. Do you remember what yours was?
No.
Forgot it. Well, it turns out I guess there was 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was only 5, and everybody was given a word, and so. But Silva Mind Control was it's still available and it's still being practiced widely. It's just a method of. It was a meditation method, right?
Yeah. So I remember asking the question, going, "What is this like hypnosis?" Because you go into this altered state, and I go, "Is this kind of like hypnosis?" But yeah, it was all about just imagining your future and everything, and making your imagination work. And so I used that going through Europe. Finding getting on trains on time and being places that just seem like, wow, that's pretty magical. You can show up and this would happen or that would happen. So it kind of just worked, being out there in the real world instead of, just on pages of a book.
Okay.
But that became popular too because I guess he taught Cesar Chavez, the guy who was the leader of the Farm Workers Union.
Oh, that's right.
He was big on that also, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, in the 70s, you couldn't go onto a college campus without somebody asking you to sign the petition to give migrant farm workers rights, and right, and that was the big. I'm sure the problem is just as difficult today. But 80% of the world's produce comes out of California, and so we have a different problem with the migrant worker who comes through Central California, the basin of California, and works. And there's certain health issues that we encounter. But basically, the people that employ these farm workers don't pay them enough so that they can actually, do legitimate work. They didn't provide them with adequate sanitation, and there were just many problems that were faced in that whole dilemma. It's a little bit more regulated, but the world is dependent on what comes out of California. I mean, they're just completely dependent on us. So I don't think people think about what it actually costs to take and, harvest the food. So that was another one of our political things. California is very political. I don't think people really understand how political California is and how invested we are in the law and so forth. So a lot of the people that I talk to, a lot of my clients are lawyers, judges, lawyers, accountants. What are some other categories that we have for our clients, Rich?
Engineers.
Oh, my gosh.
Nurses.
Engineers. Nurses. Huh.
I think we lost TJ.
Huh. Okay.
Are we still on the show, or is this still being aired?
I don't know. Let me call her. TJ, where did you go? Sometimes she logged in with her computer, and so it's like it's difficult. So talk about the self-help benefit of being an artist and pursuing the arts. Just talk about it, because I really think there's it's used for healing, it's used for psychiatric patients, it's used for, they used it for the Holocaust survivors. I mean, art has been it's used now for people that have Alzheimer's. Talk about how that's a great self-help tool.
Yeah, well, that started going to my uncle's art school in Spain, which was called the Arts and Growth Center. So it wasn't just about art, it was about a lot of things. Started out with yoga and vegetarian food, and we had people come in who were into therapies. And so it was more than just learning how to draw a lemon to look like a lemon. It was more about different other things. So yoga was big, philosophy. So yeah, if you learn the philosophy of art too, that's a big thing too. But yeah, it's one of those things that encompasses many areas. Like I say, for therapy, and just people when they go and they paint for the first time and they really enjoy it. It's really pretty good because it's real honest, and it's really something from their soul, something from their heart. Especially if, like, when you're younger, you wanted to paint a girl that you really loved, and so you do a real good job on it. Or like people painting pictures of their cats and stuff like that. It just makes there's so much behind it. It's so fresh when they do it. It's not like they've done it 1,000 times. But yeah, it's a big thing to be creative in this time we're living in right now, because there's just so much outside in the world and so much going on. Personally, yeah, just painting every day just keeps me sane, because otherwise it'd just be pretty heavy just to deal with this information we're given day in and day out. So
we have the news turned off. We have the news on mute, and we don't have any news going on in our house. We don't have the television on. We don't have the computer on. We don't get the newspaper. I read the newspaper online. But we're not, we've made a decision, and we followed this decision, that if anything could happen, then somebody will come to our door and tell us this story.
Yeah. And Jack was the first person I knew that didn't have a TV set. I mean, was growing up, in my home, the latest TV, we got that right away, color or big screen or whatever it was. But yeah, Jack was the first person who made it seem normal not to have a TV set in your house. So it wasn't a big deal. You can live without TV.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can live without it. So, all right, let's great show. You want to tell people how they can reach you, Rich?
Yes, you can reach me. It's pretty amazing to talk about visual arts on the radio, but yeah, it's richflynn.com, richflynn.com, and I'm available for commission work,